Hello, my name is Putkonen. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm talking about after enlightenment, there is still ego. When I talk about enlightenment, awakening, liberation, self-realization, pick your label, it really doesn't matter. I often say it is a shattering of the illusion of me, and I like the imagery of shattering because if you think about a window, and if a window is a shatter, it all goes. It's not like bumping it and a crack forms. Cracking the window is nothing like shattering a window. Shattering a window, it all comes apart. And so the illusion all comes apart at once. You see through it. And a mirage is a form of illusion. And so if you're fooled by the illusion and you think it's water, there's craving for the water. There might be longing and thirsting, and then you suffer when you can't get it. And the mirage causes this as long as you believe it really is water. But when you see through the mirage, if you see through the illusion and you recognize it to be a mirage, the illusion shatters all at once. In terms of when you really know this is not water. It's not a partial. It's not like, oh, I kind of think it might not be water. That's not really knowing it's not water. When you really know it's not water, the illusion has been shattered entirely. There's no doubt this is not water. And that's what I mean by the shattering of the illusion. It's not that the illusion disappears. The point isn't to get rid of the mirage. When you recognize a mirage as a mirage, and you don't believe it's water, it no longer causes confusion or suffering. But there's no reason to have to get rid of it. So it's not like what you might hear from other teachers or spiritual traditions when they talk about ego death. Ego death never really happens. There's always a remnant of an idea of me. Otherwise, you wouldn't even be able to answer to your own name. The idea of me serves in this game. And so you need it to answer your name when called. Now, I know some people will say, well, that's conditioning, that's habit. That's just reflex to answer the name. I've heard that argument before, but I don't buy it because so many of them, after awakening or becoming a teacher, adopt a new name. And if it was habit and it was conditioned, they would be answering to their old name, not the new name. The new name would hold no such conditioned or reflex response. It just wouldn't hold. A new name means there's something there going, oh, this refers to me. And this me is a soft me when it's seen through. The remaining me is a really soft me. It's imagined. It's not really even identified with. You can't identify with it. It's not really an identification. It's kind of like if you're playing a role-playing game, like a video game, and you're moving your character through the dungeon or whatever, and taking on monsters, and it's like, oh, I gained experience. Oh, I took damage. Oh, I did this and the other thing. Having the idea of that is me, that part of the overall game is me, has some value because it goes, well, this is the part that I can control, and this is how to have fun by moving this character through. The difference is after enlightenment or liberation, self-realization, you're not identified with the character. You don't really believe that's who and what you really are. There's no identification with it. And so while the ego may remain, the idea of a me still exists after enlightenment. There's no identification. And so if you're moving this character through the game and it takes damage, you're not really feeling like you were injured. It's not personal. It's not personalized and really believed to be an affront on me. It's more of, well, the character took damage, which, from this point of view is playing a me, a sense of me, but at the same time, you know that you're not just that. And so the sense of me does shift. I don't think it's the same maybe way most people have But prior to enlightenment, people have this idea of me, and that disappears. The flavor, the way me changes. The ego ceases to be master and just becomes a servant that helps expedite and make it easy to play in this game of life. It's not something to be identified with. And that's the key point. After enlightenment, there isn't identification. There might be a sense of me that I did this, that, or the other thing, but there's no identification with that. There's no attachment to that. And whether something good was done by me, you don't feel better about yourself. And if something bad was done, you don't feel poor about yourself. Because that character, although there's a sense of me to play the game, so to speak, you're not really, it's not all in bought. I guess that's another way to put it. It's more of, you realize it's just a means of playing the game. And so that's why, even after enlightenment, you can still use the word I, my, mine. It doesn't maybe mean the same thing, because when I say I did this, I'm not really thinking of me. Me as a separate individual person, that I identify with. When I say me, I'm just thinking this body mind did this, that, or the other thing. If I went for a drive, this body went for a drive. If I make a video, this body mind made a video. It's the I is referring to this character, like if I was playing a game. But if something happens to the character, there's still a sense of something happened to me. Because we know this very well. If you're playing a video game and something happens and your character dies, you go, oh, I died. There is a recognition that was me in reference to the game. And that sense of me served in operating within the game. It's kind of like, if you take it from another point of view, imagine if you became a lucid dreamer. You're dreaming and you became a lucid dreamer. You would realize all of this is a dream. It's all arising from one consciousness. I'm not other than anything else. But the dream still continues, and there's still this, there's still a sense of me in terms of a character, a center of sense, perception, point of view, so to speak, a control, this character is able to be controlled, and so you can control that character through. And so there's still a remaining sense of me for a lucid dreamer in a dream, even though they may realize the entirety of the dream is them. So simultaneously, everything in the dream is me, but at the same time, me, as in the dream character, can do this, that, or the other thing. So that's how there can be both a omnipresent me, and at the same time a sense of me, the dream character. And that sense of me, the dream character, is what remains of the ego. There's no identity anymore. Nothing's really personal. The ego deflates quite a bit in terms of it no longer has the substance and strength it once had. It's no longer master. It becomes servant in just making the game operable, doing this, that, and the other thing. So that's something I wanted to cover. If you got any questions, comments, please post below. If you have an idea for a video in terms of what still is after enlightenment, ask below. I might continue this series a little more. I might do a couple more, or I might stop. I don't know. Kind of depends. But right now I've been hitting all the main points of pain, desire, ignorance, and now ego. And I might get to some of the more outside pieces before completing this series. We'll see how it goes. But until next time, thank you much.